Why Indians and not Harley Davidsons?
Harleys never did anything for me. They look like a plumber's nightmare. You know, they got fitting, all this stuff going everywhere. And Indian, when you look at Indian, Indian had style.
Morning guys, it's been a minute. We're out here in December and it's a typical Southern California winter day. It is probably 72 degrees. We're at Kiwi Mike's Indian Emporium.
I haven't got a name for it, so that'll work.
Yeah, Kiwi Mike. If you haven't heard of him, man, you must not have been into the motorcycle thing for a minute. I remember hearing of Kiwi Mike maybe 15 years ago and started seeing him as Instagram became a thing. With some of his restored Indians. Mike is kind of one of the original adventure bike riders. He doesn't ride a Honda, he doesn't ride a Tenere, he rides an Indian, and he's ridden his Indians all over the world. And we're checking out some of his bikes, and we're going to go on a little ride with Mike later.
Welcome.
Fool's gold. Mike, why they call you Kiwi Mike?
From New Zealand originally.
Okay.
And I come over here when I was 21. And just traveling around. So and everywhere I went, I kept getting called Kiwi.
Kiwi.
So eventually when I started my own business, I thought, well, shit, why not call it Kiwi Indian? Which was sort of a good thing and a bad thing. I mean, I was known around the Indian groove as Kiwi, but then people go, well, how do I get my parts from, you know, my business is manufacturing parts. So how do I get my parts from New Zealand? And it's like, I'm not in New Zealand, I'm Southern California.
Yeah.
So it's
part of the mystery.
Yeah.
Kiwi.
Yeah. So this bike here is a 1953 Chief. It's the last of the Indians. It's special to me because I owned it up until 2008. I reluctantly sold it, but it was for a bigger cause, and that was to build my back building back there. And it went to Australia. And I never forgot how dear this bike was to me. I've sold some bikes over the years, but this one here, I just have a lot of good memories on it. It's just a good all-round Indian. It just does everything perfect. So about 6 months ago, my buddies in Australia call up and go, hey, this is your old bike, isn't it? I go, yeah. So I said, let's buy it. I said, find out what he wants for it. So the guy actually didn't do any miles on it, or not too many, and I bought it back for a whole bunch less. And Friday morning, just after Thanksgiving, I uncrated it, gave it a bit of a cleanup service, put oil, changed the fluids, new battery and so on. And that afternoon, Carol and I were out riding this thing, and man, it just fits like a glove. It's one of those bikes that's it just does everything right. There's a lot of cool Indians, but this one here, I just remember all the miles I did it. I've been all over the country on it. Just doesn't matter what you do with it, it just keeps on going.
So 18, you said you got your first Indian?
Yep, it was 18, so that'd be 78.
How'd you come into that first Indian? What was it?
It was a model it was a World War II model 3050. So it's called a model 741.
Okay.
It was, looking back, it was the epitome of Indians. It's sort of a gutless wonder, but they're a pretty sturdy bike, and that's what New Zealand got back then. You know, so yeah, that's what was all over New Zealand. That's what I wanted.
You were 21. You came to California for what?
Actually, I went to Japan, Hawaii, Canada, toured across Canada, and then had a motorcycle and come down into the United States. I had this great idea that I was going to work on the Alaska pipeline and make all this big money.
Instead, you got into motorcycles and you haven't made a dollar.
No, the Alaska pipeline had already been built. That's how much of a dumbass I was, you know. You know? So I was like, well, what the hell is a plan B? So I thought, you know what, I'm going to head down into America and travel across America. So I went across all the quite a few of the top states, Washington, you know, Idaho, Montana, there, and then eventually coming down into, somehow or another, worked my way down into Arizona, New Mexico, and then come across the bottom to California. I was going to go back up the coast up into Canada, and I got a job in a motorcycle shop, part-time job in Southern California, and went from part-time to full-time. 2.5 years later, I went back to New Zealand, and back there a few weeks and go, what the hell am I doing back here? So I stuck it out for 6 months and on a plane back over here.
You've been here ever since?
I've been here ever since. And then I founded Kiwi Indian in 1988.
Okay.
That's when we bought this property, the house. There were no buildings or anything here, but that's what we, that gave me a fixed address. You had a job, full-time job at that point, and then this was part-time, and I thought, well, you know, where's that crossover? If it's going to happen, you have a pipe dream, but if you believe it, I'm convinced if you believe it, you dream it, you think it, you know, it will come true. You just make it happen. This is the original paint, 1948. It's only got 9,900 miles on it. And with Indians, the way you tell, for this color is called prairie green. And the way you tell original paint is Indian, after they stamp the parts, they never put primer on it. So if somebody says, hey, I got an original paint Indian, you know, I start looking at little chips, little knickknacks, and if you see primer under it, it is not original. But if you actually look at it, you can actually see some waves in the minor little imperfections in the sheet metal. That's actually because the paint goes straight on the sheet metal, no primer. But that's a cool bike to...
Tell us about some of these motors, Mike. You're building them, you make some of these parts,
Yeah, I make all the parts, right down to brand new crankcases, all my own design. Well, it's Indian design, but then I've beefed them up. Flywheels, Kiwi flywheels. I do H-beam connecting rods. I'm actually moving into the I-beam connecting rod. Got a whole bunch of those. This would be the I-beam design, but I'm making them out of, I've strengthened them up and make them out of 4340 material.
So like you get these cases cast?
Yep.
And
This
machined?
is an original case.
But these are
This is one of my cases.
Okay.
So the beefier.
This is one, obviously.
Yep. And this is the original one that I've been going through, but all the internal parts, flywheels, connecting rods, crank pins, drive shaft, pinion shaft, rollers, transmission gears, shafts, it doesn't matter what it is, pistons, valves. I've actually redesigned each and every one of those items to be superior than what the factory ones were.
Yeah,
and not that the factory ones were bad. I mean, at that time, that was cutting edge technology. It's just fast forward, you know, metals. That's one of the spin-offs we have from NASA. As much as those guys spend a lot of money, we've actually had a lot of spin-offs from NASA as far as better metals. And even
the production got better, stuff got cleaner, lasted longer.
Yeah.
Forging was better.
Just, you know, the modern materials, the modern processes allowed for better parts to be made. This one here is a respected endurance rider, Dewey Bunkered.
Dewey Bunkered.
Yep, he did a lot of endurance riding.
Dewey Bunkered? Yeah, probably.
That's a bitsa, you know, it's a...
It's a what?
It's a bitsa.
A
bits
bitsa.
of this, bits of that.
Oh, bits of this, bits of that, yeah.
So it's a vertical series Indian frame, which would be 1949-51.
A bitsa.
It's a smaller vertical twin, and then they put a chief engine in it.
So I know you've ridden all over the world. Where are some of the places you've been? These old bikes.
New Zealand, Australia, Thailand. I've ridden in Nepal, but not on an Indian. Japan. I did a little moped in China. Canada.
All over the United States,
Yeah,
obviously.
all over the United States.
You spend a lot of time in
Mexico.
Colorado?
I've been to Mexico. I've done adventure riding in Mexico. Now I went down to the bottom of Copper Canyon.
Okay.
Barapilos. That's the only two Indians that have ever been down into the bottom of Copper Canyon. And let me tell you, that was a friggin' challenge. That was before they paved it, so it was nasty. I did that on my 1944.
Tell us about this one, Mike. This one looks special.
This is a 1930 Indian 4-cylinder. It's called the Baby 4. It's a smaller engine, but always wanted a 4-cylinder. But they were, I don't know, they were hard to come across. And I heard about this guy had a collection in Colorado, and he was getting rid of it. He's up there in age, and he was out in the boonies of Colorado. Straight after Sturgis, I hauled ass down to Colorado, checked out the stuff. Probably had around about, I don't know, 14, 16 bikes altogether. He made me such a killer deal. I basically got 2 of them for less than the price of one. This was an expensive motorcycle in its day.
This thing's pretty
actually
cool.
Still is today, actually.
Take you for a ride when you're ready.
Not today.
You let me know. Not today.
I will. Always get the beef there.
Oh boy. Crikey, I just wanted that.
This is a nice little spot right here. Kiwi Mike.